I'm your host, Joel Perez, and you're watching Wrestling with Politics, and today we're going to be discussing what's one of the most heinous decisions from the Donald Trump administration that I've seen in a long time, probably since Trump took office. These are some of the most despicable words that have been uttered in the entire Trump administration, because Attorney General Pam Bondi, she's recently come out in favor of targeting Americans for hate speech. And it's not just Attorney General Pam Bondi. Since she's made those comments, Donald Trump as well has come out in favor of targeting Americans for hate speech. And this is a very dangerous territory that we've entered here. And even worse than that is that they're using Charlie Kirk's death as justification for going after Americans under these pretenses. And this is absolutely disgusting. We've talked about hate speech on the channel before, and we've talked about why hate speech is such a horrible thing, because who's supposed to determine what is and isn't hate speech? Who's supposed to determine, who's supposed to be the grand overlord who tells Americans what they can and can't say? Well, in this situation, it looks like it's Donald Trump who wants to be that grand overlord. And if that's the case, well, Donald Trump, you're making a huge mistake here, because we already know where the agenda of hate speech originated. This is a Democratic Party proposal. This is one of their main talking points. And to hear this coming out of the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, if I show you this clip back, which I'm going to include it in the video.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
In this clip, Pam Bondi, she sounds like a Democrat. She sounds like a Kamala Harris. She sounds like an AOC. You can throw her right into that party and you literally wouldn't be able to tell her apart from any Democratic politician. And that's exactly why this is so short-sighted, because this might serve to Donald Trump's purposes now, and he might be able to go after all his political opponents and everybody who speaks bad about him now. But when Donald Trump is no longer in power 4 years from now, who's going to take these hate speech laws and use it for their agenda? The Democratic Party. And so the same people who you hate and who don't like what you have to say, they're now going to go after you for hate speech. And that's exactly the other problem when it comes to hate speech. It's the fact that you don't like what other people say. Well, other people, guess what? Other people, they don't like what you have to say either. So if you support hate speech, or you support going after people for hate speech, and you support taking people out and putting them in jail for the things that they say, well, guess what? It's only a matter of time until people come after you, until people don't like what you have to say, and people want to put you in jail for your opinions, until people classify your opinions as hate speech. What happens then, Donald Trump? What happens then to anybody who's supporting these hate speech laws? Guess what? You end up in jail. You end up getting canceled. You end up getting prosecuted. And that's exactly why these hate speech laws are so dangerous, because it allows for your political opponents to get locked up. And that's not how this is supposed to work. And that's exactly what Charlie Kirk was against. And that's why it's so heinous that Donald Trump, in a video, he used Charlie Kirk's death as justification for hate speech. They asked him, don't you think Charlie Kirk would be against this? And Charlie Kirk, before he died, made public tweets going against hate speech. This is exactly what Charlie Kirk would have hated. This goes completely against his legacy. Charlie Kirk, he was one of the most ardent defenders of the First Amendment, because he knows that at the very foundation of this political debate, of everything that we do here, is freedom of speech, is the ability to say whatever it is that you want to say, whatever it is that is truly your opinion. because the counter to bad speech, it's not censorship. It's more speech, it's political debate. When somebody has a bad idea, the way to dismiss that bad idea so that people don't believe the ridiculous things that this person says is by shooting them down with valid arguments. But when you're going after people for hate speech and you're not even allowing them to make these arguments, guess what? We can never even have these discussions. The discussions, they never even begin. And the horrible beliefs that those people believe that you want to go after them for, they're going to keep believing them things in their own head. And everybody's going to keep believing those things because the debate never got to get had. Nobody ever got to dismiss those bad ideas in the circle of public opinion. And guess what? So that people, they're going to keep believing those ideas. Those ideas don't die. Those ideas just go into people's heads. And that's a very, very dangerous place for those ideas to be. Instead of expressing those ideas out loud and letting people know what is actually on your mind, instead, what these laws do is they keep people reserved and they keep people dangerous. And so there's so much wrong here with going about this approach. I never would have thought that I would have seen Donald Trump in favor of hate speech. This is absolutely insane, but this just goes to show it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how against the establishment you may seem. If you get into a position of power like the president of the United States, you know what you have to say and you know what you have to do to get by and to keep the deep state happy with your performance. And Donald Trump, it seems like he's gotten that call. He understands exactly what he needs to do to continue being president and to not end up like Charlie Kirk, apparently. And that means he's going to support the Israel Zionist lobby and he's going to completely abandon some of his key principles and support things like hate speech, which go completely against everything Donald Trump ran on the campaign trail. And if you're a supporter of Donald Trump, and this is what I like about the Trump supporters, the fact that they're actually able to call out Donald Trump when they disagree with Donald Trump, they actually call him out. They're actually willing to engage in the debate and the discussion required to tell Donald Trump, listen, I support you, but I do not agree with this at all. And if you don't change your tune on this, we're going to have a big, big problem. Unlike the Democrats who supported Joe Biden, who would just go along with whatever Joe Biden would do, with whatever heinous decision he would make, unlike those Democrats, it seems like Trump supporters are actually willing to call him out. And that's exactly what we need in this moment. We cannot allow Donald Trump to keep spewing this nonsense about hate speech. The Attorney General Pam Bondi, she got her ass handed back to her on social media for even daring to utter something like this. And that's exactly what needs to keep happening. These politicians, they need to be afraid to turn their backs on the American people. They need to be afraid that if they make the wrong move, if they make the wrong decision, the American people, they're going to show up at their door with pitchforks and riots. And that's exactly the problem. These politicians, they're not afraid. They think that they could get away and spit all over our rights and do whatever they want with us. And that's a big, big problem because that's going to end up the same way that we're seeing here with things like this. These politicians, they use things and moments, huge moments like Charlie Kirk's death to justify further crackdowns, further censorship. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. The same day that Charlie Kirk died, the Congress was voting to block the release of the Epstein files. So look at the type of nefarious things they're doing behind the scenes while everybody's distracted. This can't continue to happen. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to use Charlie Kirk's death as justification to do whatever type of horrible things that the deep state and the government has been trying to get across. They're using Charlie Kirk's death to further the agenda of the deep state. And Donald Trump, He's a puppet of the deep state. He's going along with the deep state. He's doing their bidding, and he's carrying water for their agenda. And until he stops doing that, we need to call him out every step of the way at the top of our lungs. This is completely despicable. And if Donald Trump, if he takes these words about going after people for hate speech and he turns them into law, it's going to be a big, big problem. And we're going to be here every step of the way on the Wrestling with Politics YouTube channel, calling him out. And I hope that you're here calling him out with me, because this is a horrible development in Trump's administration. This is something that I never would have thought I would have seen the Trump administration sink to this low. You sound exactly like the Democratic Party, and this is further proof that there is no two parties in America. There's one uni-party who at the end of the day, they may pretend to disagree. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they may pretend to be at odds, but at the end of the day, it's all one big uni-party who has the same agenda, an agenda that aligns with the agenda of the corporations, of the most powerful people of this society, and like I always mention, an agenda that aligns with that of the deep state. So we've got a big, big problem here. We've got two parties that have been taken over and corrupted by some of the most evil people in our society, and they're trying to inflict evil on our American people, on our population of the United States. So we have a big, big problem. We need to deal with this problem. Things like this are going to keep happening. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to get together? Are we going to brainstorm some solutions here? Or are we going to give up and let them do whatever they want with us? No, we need to come together, and we need to wake up, and we need to realize what's going on right in front of us. There's an evil cabal of people who are trying to silence you, who are trying to shut you up. And Charlie Kirk, he was one of those people who was starting to wake up to that. And look at how he ended up. We cannot allow this to continue to happen. There's something seriously, seriously wrong going on here. And Donald Trump's administration, he's not the solution to it. He's at the epicenter. So that's all for now, guys. Let me know what you think of this development. Donald Trump going after hate speech. Absolutely disgraceful. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.